The glorious tenure of nominated Senator GLORIA ORWOBA has come to an end. She is a nominated senator representing women and girls. She is nominated by UDA. Her tenure in the Senate was glorious one. We will try to evaluate it point by point. First of all, do we really need nominated honorables? Be they MCA, be they members of the National Assembly or even senators? Do we really need nominated leaders? Do they add value? The answer is that they add very little value. And in the little value that they add, Glorious is on the forefront. She's, in my view, the one who knew her constituency, that is representing issues to do with girl and woman. And I can say that I may not be pleased with all the way she used to do, but somehow the way she was handling things came out successfully. But the question is, what of the rest? Yes, she had an effect. What of the rest? What of the other nominated senators, nominated MPs, and nominated MCS? Choose any nominated senator, especially the vocal ones. Can you say what they represent in the Senate? Can you just look at a nominated senator and say, this is what this and so senator represents? Because you will know them by their action. Orwoba was always handling issues to do with girl child. So at least you can associate that. What about other senators? A senator like Gatti can be identified not by what she contributes on matters of people living with disabilities. No. It is because we always see her in a wheelchair. MCS, MNS, and senators who are nominated are supposed to represent certain marginalized groups. For example, they are supposed to represent people living with disabilities. They are supposed to represent minorities such as tribes and whatever. They are supposed to represent various religions. Because when something is going to be passed, we need somebody representing the Muslims to make sure that the laws and whatever is passed through Parliament is not detrimental to a certain religion, be it a Muslim, be it Kalasinga, be it such and such a thing. Those are the nominated people we are supposed to have. How many of them have you heard talking about the groups that they represent? Very few, if not zero. But how did we start with this thing called nominated MPs? Because previously, we used to have nominated MPs and nominated councillors. I don't know much about nominated councillors, but let me talk about nominated MP. In the 60s, Kenya National Assembly established 12 positions of nominated MPs. Initially, the nominated MPs represented different tribal groups. There were 12, but they represented mostly tribal groups. New Akampa Union had Mulu Mutisia as the nominated MP. Gema, we had Jenga Karume, who was representing that. Paul Mboya represented the Luos. I apologize, I have forgotten what the Luo group used to be called. Kindly do not confuse Paul Mboya with Tom Mboya. There were two namesakes, and Paul Mboya used to represent the Luos. I don't know who represented the Lu here. I don't remember. These tribal nominated MPs ceased being so upon Daniel Arap Moi taking over. First and foremost, he disbanded all the tribal groups, anything that has to do with the tribal. So you could not be nominated to the parliament to represent, let's say, New Akamba Union or Gema. Second, he started the system of awarding cronies. Yeah. So the 12 nominated MPs were never representing any team. It was cronies. And then we had the 2010 Constitution of Kenya, which came up, and because they were Kenyans were complaining that nominated MPs were being taken as friends of the party leaders and such a thing. There was also in the 2010 Constitution concern that you contest a constituency, then you lose the constituency. But since you used to bankroll a lot of money for your political party, when your political party is about to nominate somebody, you are given there. So it was seen that it was unfair for anybody who had contested to be nominated as an MP. First of all, they'll always fight with the MP for his area who had been elected. I can give you an example. Lugari, we had what we call Nabwera, Burudi Nabwera as the MP and the minister, and we had Jonathan Masinde Muro Werangai as nominated MP. So people did not want that. People wanted a new way of nominating people. They did not want that one. And then there was also a problem with the 1992. 1992, that is the first time we had the multi-party election. In 1992 and 1997, the leading party, KANU, took all the 7, not all the 7, but all the 12 nominated slots. So in both in the 2005 and 2010 Constitution of Kenya, it was said that in future, political parties should have equivalent portion. If your party or coalition had, let's say, 30% of the total election, then you would have 30% of the nominated slots. But if you look at 1992 and 1997, all nominated slots were given to KANU. And it really assisted KANU, because when it came to voting, the 12 nominated always voted for KANU. And that is one of the reasons why they did that. Again, to remove this possibility of somebody contesting in a constituency and failing, and then his or her party nominates him, they brought the 2010 Constitution, even the 2005. The two constitutions brought up the figure that in future, before even when people are giving in the, when people are handing in their nomination to the ECK, they should also give their list. If you look at some of my first videos I had recorded on this channel 2 years ago, I talked of the list in South Africa, whereby I don't know how many nominated MPs in the National Assemblies are there today, but each and every political party, let us assume there are still 12. So each and every political party, including Roots, which stands no position to get even 5 MPs, but all political parties will have to appoint 12 people in a certain criteria, where you mix. It has to be mixed in, you don't give there the whole list for people from one tribe. You don't give the list for people from one gender. You don't give a list of, it is such a cross and mix. Except Robert's list should consist of only women, because it is a nominated senator to represent women affairs. But any other nomination, like people living with a disability or something, If Roba who's from Nyanza and Akisi, she's dropped, you don't replace her with somebody again from that geographical region again. Maybe you get somebody from Mukambani or something like that. So it goes that way, that way, that way. That is what the 2010 constitution brought in. It was called the check-off list, whereby you give the 12 names. When you give the 12 names, it is assumed on paper, even if you are Roots Party, it is assumed that you stand a possibility, even if it is 1 in a million, of getting all the 12. And if you give the first person, maybe you give the first person. Like, I remember there's a lady, I think she's a Maasai lady, who was made a cabinet secretary, and she was on the list of nomination. So she goes out, and the ECK, or not the ECK, IEBC goes to the next available name and gives that one. That is what happened. And then they say the rest is history. My opinion is that we either do away with the nominated slots, or if you have to have it, we have to divide them as follows. A group like Law Society of Kenya should nominate an MP. This one will assist different committees. He or she will assist, maybe they have to be two. They have to assist various committees as lawyers. Maybe we take constitutional lawyers who would be nominated, and when the sittings are there, committee meetings, and even the committee of the whole house, they can put input there their legal knowledge. The Kenya Society of People Living with Disability, I think if we must have a nominated MP, then the people living with disability, they should have their own election day, whereby they should elect somebody, a man and a woman, to represent people living with disability. And then when they come to people living with disability, they should come up with such a way that if one is coming with a disability of the eye, the other one has to be disability of, the other one should be in the wheelchair, something like that. Even religion organization should also be sending that. That is if we must have nominated members. But generally, I would not go for nominated MPs or even MCS. Now let us go back to Orwoba. As we have just seen, she represented her constituency well. Her constituency being a girl and a woman. She was very open. But she also had a character. She had also a character. First and foremost, a human mind is very imaginative. You don't have to, you just have to describe certain things in a certain way, and every human being would know what you're driving at. You don't have to come with colored clothes to pass your information. She would also cause storm and make serious unsubstantiated allegations. She's on record as being serving the longest suspension, a record that will take long to equate. I remember she was suspended from the parliament and said that she was not to get a salary for 78 days or something like that, which is about 3 months. Out of the public eyes, she becomes very apologetic. When they're in the commission, when they're in the office, they become very apologetic, but could not read her own apology in public. She's your politician. She's your politician, because a politician, when there is a mic and the people are there, he would talk a lot of nonsense. But when they are somewhere and then the recording is replayed to him or her, becomes very apologetic and even can kneel down and whatever. So in such a situation, she wrote even an apology letter and whatever, and agreed to read it in Senate. But when she was taken to Senate to read it, she did not want to read it, because she wanted just to say, as per this letter. But she was forced by the speaker either to read it, or it will not be, the apology will not be accepted. Many a nominated leader always wish to have a constituency What she didn't know is that they are very careful when to jump ship. This thing Wamunyora has been saying, he has been saying that he knows of very many people who are sympathetic to his cause. And 6 months, I think he talked to Obina that way. 6 months to election, you'll see a lot of crossover. Those things, this one, maybe because of her age, she did not know that people sympathize with other causes, but they don't show until, let us say, last 6 months. But she was too quick and too fast. Maybe the fact that she's still young may have contributed a lot. Last, in the Senate, nominated senators, and I think even in the National Assembly, do not enjoy certain facilities. Some of the facilities that they do not hold is that sometimes they are not even given powers to vote on certain issues. When it is declared that each county votes, you cannot vote unless one of the county senators, allows you to vote on his or her behalf. They don't have county offices and staff. And also that issue I was saying that sometimes they don't vote. It reminds me of one time when I think it was Halwade who was being mistreated, Senator Halwade, and they knew that if Senator Halwade was placed in the cells, the other nominated senator from Kakamega would vote according to what the government wanted. So you find that all animals are not equal, all senators are not equal. Thank you.